So after doing the worst of list, there is only one thing to do, and that is the best of list. That's right. Today we'll be counting down my top 10 favorite anime of 2023. Now, naturally, that means this is my list. These are the shows I liked. A lot of popular things this year I couldn't fucking stand. So you're gonna see some really weird things here, but that's why you watch, to see what I have to say. And of course, naturally, that means this is all opinion based. Also, I couldn't get to everything because there really is a lot of good shit coming out nowadays. So if your favorite's not on here, it's either because I didn't like it or realistically more likely just didn't catch it. But without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Tomboy Waifu Supremacy. Tomboy Waifu Supremacy. Tomboy Waifu Supremacy. Actually, in all due reality, there is a lot more to Tomo-chan as a girl than just that. This show is very delightful and charming. The leads are great. They have a lot of good chemistry together. And I think there is a really nice message in this show about body positivity and learning to accept who you are and how that can really affect other people and for the better. And also, I just really like Tomo as a character and the way her general outlook is presented. The show's also really funny with a lot of just good creative jokes that kind of just come out of nowhere and were really good at leaving an impact. This is, I think, the show that really set me up for really enjoying rom-coms and shoujo type stuff this year. Number 9. What? Ningen Fusion? Another edgelord fantasy anime where a bunch of characters are gonna get revenge and have their dumb power fantasy bullshit? Actually, no. This show is about healing. It's about going through things and learning to find people who you can relate to, who you can talk to, who you can get along with, and being able to move forward with your life and being better for it. This is the kind of anime that I wish anime would be more like this instead of what it often is. Even if the animation and a lot of the technicals of the show were kind of lackluster, it's the kind of story that really makes me appreciate checking shows like this out. Number 8. Look, I am not a high school girl, I'm not a shonen protagonist, and I am certainly not living in a fantasy world ran by video game logic. I am a grown man who barely has it together, hence why I'm talking about anime on the fucking internet. Therefore, a show that's also about an adult who barely has it together appeals to me. That is why we're talking about My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. This is one of those shows, if you're just at that point in your life where you can identify with it, you need it. The idea of a girl who's just a hot, steaming mess in her early 20s and just struggling to make it all work, while also dealing with romance, and the only thing really working in her life is a video game she plays. It just kind of hits me, man. It just makes me feel something. Number 7. For our next entry, I would like to transport you all to a bizarre time known as the mid-2000s, where every anime it felt like was about high school and kids in those high school. And in the years since then, we seem to have moved so far from this being the norm that Skip to Loafer felt like a genuine breath of fresh air. I mean it though, the way this show handled teen drama and also the characterization of those teens was pitch perfect. Every issue it tackled, whether it's not feeling like you fit in, body image, or not being able to let go of issues from your past, it really felt like was written with this level of care and understanding for what it means to be a teen going through those, that it really made you, everything about it just feel enduring. Speaking of which, this girl, best girl of the year for me. Just adorkableness to the perfection. Number 6. We have one of the biggest shows in the world that I actually do like, and that is Spy Family. Season 2 does something that I wished Season 1 had done and goes more into Yor and how her head works and what she thinks and how being an assassin affects her, and also more importantly, how life with Lloyd and Anya is changing her. I think spending so much time with her psychology was really interesting and led to a really just fun reintroduction to this character, as well as just a lot of just fun in general. It's a big fight on a ship. How can you not like it? There is really cool action here, even if the show is a comedy. And let's be real, that comedy is great. Spy Family is such a solid show with such solid story and solid characters and humor. There's a reason it's like the most dominant force on the planet right now. Number 5. I know. I'm the guy who keeps hating on Battle Shonen. I say they're bad and uninteresting, but I can't help it. My Hero Academia just ticks all the boxes for me. I still really like all these characters. I really like this world. I really like the animation. I really like the plot. And I thought this season did a lot of really interesting things. The way it builds up to a world that feels this just dire and dim and just everything is falling apart. And the way you see it affect Midoriya and Uraraka and everyone else, I thought was just really compelling. If it didn't work for you, that's fine, but this is the one that just still keeps me invested. Number 4, we have Dr. Stone Season 3 New World. Y'all should have been expecting this, since I already did like a video about why I like this show so much. But the main reason it is this high up on the list, especially compared to its Shonen Jump contemporaries, is because Senku versus Ebina is probably my single favorite episode of anime I watched all year. From start to finish, it is just pure perfection, as just everything that you could possibly imagine could happen to Senku in these 22 minutes happens, all coming to a perfect climax that just had me grinning uncontrollably. Above all else, this was my favorite anime experience of the year, and that is why this series gets to be so high up. So for number 3, we have The Ancient Magus's Bride Season 2. For those of you who may not remember, I really liked this show when it first came out a few years ago. So when I heard it was getting a follow-up, I got really excited. I did get a little nervous when I started hearing some of the valid arguments about why people didn't like the first season. But once it started, and you were just back in this world with this gorgeous animation, beautiful music, and really great complex characters, I knew I was hooked all over again. This season goes to some very dramatic places and tackles some subjects that I don't really think get tackled all that well in anime or even just Western media in general. So to see it be done here in a way that was very poignant and hit very hard really stuck with me and always kept me wanting to come back for more. So as usual in my top 10 lists, number 2 and number 1 are pretty interchangeable. Kind of just depends on the mood I'm in at the time. But for right now, number 2 is My Happy Marriage. When I saw that Netflix was putting some real effort into marketing this, I had a feeling there was something really good here, and God was I satisfied. This is a beautifully executed romantic drama show about a woman who has gone through just the worst, and the way they introduce you to this really sets you up for it. And getting to see her meet her unrealistically hot new husband and just watching their relationship develop and seeing them learn to really care for each other and want to help each other is a really well done, beautiful experience. Combined with the genuinely beautiful animation and incredible score, this for me was a pretty perfect anime experience and really only loses out for just the smallest of nitpicks. Number 1! Many of you might be asking, how can a near perfect anime experience lose out as number 1? Well, before we talk about it, I'd like to set you all the scene. A few years ago, the anime series Vinland Saga came out, and everyone was obsessed with it, and when it came to my top 10 list of the year, that made number 10 worst. Not a terrible or particularly bad show by any stretch of the imagination, but for me personally, I remember it being kind of disappointing, having a really awkward, slow pace, and I didn't get as super into all the characters as everyone else did, if I'm being honest with y'all. So when season 2 was announced, I was kind of like, I don't know. But then I saw also was being like simulcast on Netflix. So like, well, I'm paying too much for the streaming service anyway, so let's just check it out. And I've never had something make such a big turnaround for me ever. The minute Vinland Saga Season 2 starts, it is very apparent we are no longer dealing with the same historical edgelord action fest we had last time. We are now a drama, and we're telling the story of a broken man who dedicated his life to anger and revenge and violence, and all it led to was him being left empty and meaningless. And for 24 episodes, we get to watch the story of that man pull himself back. We get to see someone just return from the most pitiful, sad states of depression to finding a new sense of purpose and growth. And it's a pretty damn near perfect experience. The way this show just shows the desolate and miserable nature of what it was like to live back then in a world that just valued strength and the ability to kill others meaninglessly over anything else, and to see what sort of joy and actual happiness can come from pushing through in a world like that, I think led to a very beautiful experience. This show has great animation. It has incredible acting. Everything about this worked perfectly for me. Also, Einar is my fucking boy. I love this man. So yeah, that was my top 10 anime of the year list. If you couldn't tell, the big popular things all let me down. But when I went ahead and just tried the things that looked good to me, I found some stuff I really fucking loved. Okay, there was some pretty popular stuff on here. The popular stuff that appeals to me. But what appeals to you? Because all of this is, at the end of the day, just opinion-based and what works for you. And even if a show I did not like did it for you, that is great. Comment below to let me know the shows that affected you, rather just for fun or on a personal emotional level. That's what the comment section before. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me for more interesting anime going forward.